Big dreams, bold ideas, and the occasional total faceplant. From postage stamp profits to 3D printed steaks, America's been home to some of the wildest money-making attempts in modern history. These are 101 get-rich-quick schemes that didn't quite go as planned, but left behind legendary stories, unforgettable flops, and a few surprisingly clever twists along the way. 1. Charles Ponzi promised Boston investors a miraculous 50% return in 45 days by flipping international postage coupons. His math worked until he ran out of fresh suckers and the whole tower of stamps collapsed in 1920, vaporizing millions and birthing the term Ponzi scheme. A century later, his name still echoes whenever someone tries to alchemize thin air into gold. 2. Fast forward to 2008, and Bernie Madoff took Ponzi 2.0 to astronomical heights. $65 billion in phantom profits, a 150-year prison sentence, and shattered retirements from Palm Beach to Peoria. The twist? Regulators had been warned for years but snoozed. It's the financial thriller where the villain mailed his own confession when the cash ran dry. 3. Remember Beanie Babies? By 1999, guides bragged they appreciated 8,400%. One California dad sank $100K into 20,000 plush critters, dreaming of college funds. Today, they squat in his garage like fuzzy IOUs worth lunch money. Speculation lesson: when your retirement plan squeaks when squeezed, rethink. 4. Pets.com burned through $300 million chasing clicks with a wisecracking sock puppet dog, even buying a Super Bowl ad before it sold a profit-making bone. 8 months after its IPO, the site folded, layoffs hit 255 staff, and the puppet ended up in a museum of marketing mistakes. Investors? They fetched exactly 19 cents on the dollar. 5. Billy McFarland's 2017 Fyre Festival hawked luxury villas, gourmet feasts, and Blink 182 on a Bahamian beach. Guests arrived to FEMA tents and cheese on bread, while McFarland landed 6 years in federal housing and owes $26 million in restitution. Irony alert: tickets for Fyre 2 are already on sale. Any takers? 6. January 2021. Reddit day traders stormed Wall Street with GameStop stock, minting paper millionaires overnight. Some diamond hands held too long, rode it from $483 to under $50, and discovered that to the moon sometimes means a fiery re-entry. Been there? Let me know in the comments. 7. BitConnect's hype man shouted, "What's up, BitConnect?" at crypto rallies, promising 40% monthly returns via a secret trading bot. In 2018, the token crashed 92% overnight. The DOJ called it a $2.4 billion Ponzi, and US promoters face prison time. The only thing mooning was investor despair. 8. Trump University sold wealth seminars up to $35K, complete with cardboard cutouts of the Donald. Graduates got neither degrees nor fortunes, only a $25 million settlement after lawsuits alleged straight-up fraud. Real estate tip: if the diploma comes with a glossy headshot, walk away. 9. Multi-level marketers swear you'll retire on beach money by sharing the opportunity. Yet FTC data show 99% of recruits in schemes like LuLaRoe earn less than they spend on leggings and lipstick samples. When your spare bedroom morphs into unsold inventory, the dream is wearing thin, literally. 10. In the 1980s ostrich farm craze, Texans paid up to $40K per bird, lured by claims a single ostrich could net $80K annually in meat, hides, and feathers. Markets never materialized. Many farmers ended up barbecuing their investments just to clear the fields. 11. Dehydrated water cans. Yes, an Arizona entrepreneur tried selling empty tins with instructions. Just add H2O. Shelves stayed full, bank accounts stayed empty, and the product lives on only as a gag gift punchline. Sometimes satire is the business model, and even that flopped. 12. The 1920s Florida land boom sold unseen ocean view lots by mail. Buyers later discovered their dream estates were underwater, literally mangrove swamp. When a hurricane hit in 26, the market drowned with it, leaving speculators holding soggy deeds and dashed hopes. 13. In 1975, the pet rock earned Gary Dahl a cool $15 million in 6 months. Emboldened, copycats launched pet dirt kits, just a jar of soil. Consumers weren't amused. The fad died, investors ate mud, and Dahl quietly retired, proving lightning rarely strikes the same gimmick twice. 14. Dot-com fever birthed Flus.com, an online currency backed by Whoopi Goldberg ads. Hackers laundered stolen credit cards through the site, the bubble burst, and 300,000 users were left with 25 million in worthless flus. Digital cash, real crash. 15. The 2006 housing flip frenzy had gurus teaching attendees to buy with no money down. One Phoenix postal worker juggled 18 mortgages at once. When teaser rates reset, he defaulted on all, torpedoing his credit for a decade. Serious tone, but come on. 18? 16. A Minnesota inventor swore his miracle magnet fuel saver would double gas mileage. Consumer Reports found zero benefit. The FTC fined him. Drivers burned cash, not gasoline. Personal aside, I'll stick to tire pressure checks, thanks. 17. Gold dispensing ATMs popped up in Vegas casinos in 2010, banking on impulse bullion buys. Tourists loved selfies but hated $40 markups per ounce, and the machines vanished within a year. The real jackpot? The scrap dealer who bought the leftover gold cheap. 18. In 2013, a Brooklyn startup promised 3D printed meat grown from steak ink cartridges. Investors drooled. Prototypes sizzled on PowerPoint only. After $4 million in seed cash, founders admitted the tech was decades away. Investors chewed nothing but regrets. 19. MLM-style coin laundry routes swept the Midwest in the 90s. Buy overpriced washers, let quarters roll in. One Iowa teacher sunk retirement savings, then learned repair costs and vandalism gobbled profits. She now calls quarters tiny chrome heartbreaks. 20. The Segway was touted as the device that would create billionaires in urban real estate because cities would redesign around it. Instead, early adopters crashed into lawsuits. The company sold only 140,000 units in 2 decades and finally shuttered in 2020. Sidewalks remain blissfully unchanged. 21. During the 1980 silver spike, Texas brothers Nelson and William Hunt cornered the market, driving prices from $6 to $50 an ounce. Margin calls forced liquidation, prices plunged 78% in a single day, and the Hunts declared bankruptcy. Serious, but admit it, trying to buy all the silver is cartoon villain ambitious. 22. 2017's ICO boom birthed useless Ethereum token, whose own website warned, "You're going to give me money and I'm going to take it." Investors still poured in $300K before it vanished. At least the founder was honest. 23. A Kansas farmer sold worm farm franchises in the 1970s promising fertilizer gold. Recruits paid $5,000 for starter worms, only to learn the only buyers were other recruits. When the chain wriggled to a halt, lawsuits called it night-crawling Ponzi. 24. The great MU oil rush of the 90s pitched bird fat as cure-all investments. Ranchers bred 1 million emus. Demand supported maybe 100,000. Prices collapsed, many birds were simply released, and Texas wildlife officials still chase feral emus today. Talk about running from your problems. 25. Silicon Valley's Juichiro raised $120 million for a Wi-Fi-connected juicer that squeezed pre-bagged produce packs. Reporters showed you could extract the same juice by hand in half the time. Sales flatlined, and investors learned the hard way that sometimes the squeeze just isn't worth the hype. 26. A California startup marketed solar roadways via crowdfunding, promising energy-generating glass tiles. After 2 million and one prototype parking lot, tiles shattered under pickup truck weight and output couldn't power a microwave. The sun still rises, the project doesn't. 27. In 2005, million-dollar homepage, clones sprouted everywhere. One US college kid copied the idea, sold 400 pixels, then demand evaporated. He'd promised advertisers lifetime traffic. The site expired when he forgot to renew the domain. Easy money? More like easy come, easy go. 28. Lottery pool syndicates sound smart, until a New Jersey office manager disappeared with the winning ticket. Coworkers sued, friendships imploded, and everyone learned the priceless value of notarized agreements. Question for you. Ever trusted an office pool? 29. Energy drink. 4 loco investors expected frat house riches. Then the FDA banned caffeinated alcohol combos, cases were recalled, and warehouses of neon cans turned into hazardous waste. Sometimes regulations pull the plug before the profits pour. 30. In 1983, a Las Vegas man tried to sell shares in his plan to tow a 100-million-ton iceberg from Antarctica to Southern California for drinking water, estimating profits at $200 million. Investors fronted cash. A tugboat was even chartered, until engineers revealed the berg would melt faster than it moved. The dream dissolved, literally in the Pacific, leaving backers high, dry, and considerably poorer. 31. Riding high on the nostalgia wave of the late 1990s, one Chicago entrepreneur believed collectors would pay fortunes for limited edition VHS tapes of cult movies, so he mortgaged his bungalow to press 100,000 copies. By the time boxes arrived, DVD players had invaded every living room. Retailers refused the bulky cassettes, and he spent 3 summers selling them for quarters at flea markets, discovering the hard way that nostalgia ages faster than technology upgrades. 32. Hot on the heels of that misfire came an Arizona outfit offering investors a slice of the oxygen bar revolution, promising franchised kiosks where shoppers would pay $5 a minute to sniff scented air. Construction costs ballooned, malls banned the tanks over fire codes, and when foot traffic never materialized, shareholders learned that bottling atmosphere is about as profitable as trapping lightning in a jar. Cool concept, 0 repeat customers. 33. If you thought oxygen was intangible, consider the Colorado startup that literally canned Rocky Mountain air, shipping aluminum canisters of breeze to smog-choked cities overseas. Freight charges devoured margins, customs officials punctured pallets to test contents, and leaked pressure rendered most units useless, proving that selling nothing is a risky business model unless you happen to be a vacuum manufacturer or a magician. 34. Building on America's love affair with drive-through beverages, a Texas duo franchised mobile iced tea trucks painted like giant mason jars, predicting suburban streets would hum with sweet tea deliveries. Mechanical breakdowns, health code hurdles, and lukewarm consumer enthusiasm left investors steeped in debt rather than tea, reminding us that not every Southern tradition scales beyond the porch swing. 35. During the early 2000s recession, gifting circles cloaked as women empowerment brunches swept coastal towns, each attendee handing $5,000 to the hostess for a promised $40,000 return when her turn atop the pyramid arrived. Law enforcement crashed the parties, friendships imploded over missing cash, and the only empowerment achieved was for bankruptcy attorneys billing overtime. 36. Tech bros once pitched ghost hunting equipment, thermal cameras and EMF meters, as the next GoPro, insisting every amateur paranormal team would need a $2,000 kit. Warehouses filled with unsold gadgets when reality TV ghost shows lost their spooky shine, turning the would-be Spectre sensors into literal dead stock, haunting liquidation sites. 37. Fax machines may feel prehistoric, yet a Florida boiler room blasted miracle penny stock tips to doctors' offices nationwide, pumping shares before dumping them. The SEC swooped. Investors discovered their speculative darlings were shell companies with no products, and the only thing truly transmitted was collective regret on curling thermal paper. 38. The infamous Nigerian prince email scam wasn't confined to inboxes. One Georgia retiree actually wired $450,000 over 3 years, convinced she'd earn a diplomatic courier fee. When the FBI intervened, she faced foreclosure, proving that even in the digital age, the oldest confidence tricks still find fresh believers with offline consequences. 39. Domain name. Squatting looked brilliant in 1999, so a New Jersey college kid borrowed $80,000 to buy misspellings of Fortune 500 brands, convinced corporate lawyers would pay millions. Instead, He received cease and desist letters demanding surrender, plus a federal cyber-squatting fine, illustrating that typos can cost far more than they're worth. 40. Hoping to replicate ostrich mania, Midwest farmers turned to elderberries after influencers hyped the fruit as a flu cure. Saplings cost $12 each, but wholesale buyers vanished when studies proved benefits marginal, leaving fields purple with berries no juice company wanted, and barns stacked with unsold artisanal syrups, fermenting into sticky evidence of misplaced faith. 41. Late-night infomercials once touted an electro-ab stimulator that promised six-pack abs while you watch TV. Thousands signed financing plans at 29% interest, the FTC labeled claims bogus, and repossession agents literally collected vibrating belts from couch potatoes, underscoring that if fitness looks effortless, your wallet is probably the muscle being worked. 42. When NFTs exploded, a California programmer minted chain letter tokens, where each buyer was supposed to convince two friends to purchase the next edition, driving prices upward. OpenSea delisted the collection for pyramid scheme mechanics, values plunged to near-zero gas fees, and evangelists learned that decentralization doesn't legalize geometry shaped like a triangle. 43. After hurricanes ravaged Florida, entrepreneurs pitched python farming as a leather goldmine. Investors funded hatcheries, only to find luxury brands refuse skins from invasive species. Many snakes escaped during a storm, multiplying in the Everglades, leaving backers hissing at regulators and taxpayers footing eradication costs. 44. Electric scooter charging seemed like an overnight cash cow. Gig workers bought minivans to collect bird and lime scooters, expecting $500 nightly. Saturated markets, pay cuts, and battery recalls slashed payouts to pennies, and some juicers ended up sleeping in vans full of dead scooters, realizing the gig economy can run out of juice fast. 45. Kale chips felt invincible in 2014, so a Silicon Valley snack startup predicted an IPO on par with Doritos, leased a 200,000 square foot plant, and spent millions on Himalayan salt branding. Then cauliflower everything stole the spotlight. Supermarkets discounted pallets to clear shelf space, and investors watched their green dream wilt faster than unwashed produce. 46. Penny auction websites lured users with iPads, one, for $5, but each bid cost 75 cents. One Michigan teenager sank $3,400 chasing a $600 laptop before realizing the house edge rivaled Vegas. Regulators deemed the model unlicensed gambling, shuttered platforms, and domain owners disappeared like bad magicians in a puff of chargebacks. 47. Hoverboards without handlebars promised back-to-the-future profits. So, a crowd-funded brand raised $2 million outsourced batteries to a bargain factory and shipped units that burst into flames under Christmas trees. Mandatory recalls bankrupted the company, and the only thing that took flight was investor capital, straight up in smoke. 48. Micro-apartment pod. Hotels wooed San Francisco landlords with ROI charts, showing 8 beds where one once stood. Fire marshals condemned retrofitted basements, zoning fines stacked up, and disgruntled tenants live-streamed sardine can living, scaring off future renters and sending property owners back to traditional leases with singed reputations. 49. A Missouri inventor's oil additive pellets claimed to boost mileage 40%. Trucking fleets tested them, engines clogged, warranties voided, and the EPA levied fines. In the end, the pellets proved better at gumming profit forecasts than lubricating cylinders. 50. Cannabis stocks without licenses mushroomed after state legalization votes. Promoters issued glossy decks predicting billion-dollar farms, yet many held only options on desert land with no water rights. When federal banking rules stalled, share prices evaporated, and hopeful day traders learned that green rushes can fade to brown deserts overnight. 51. Pokémon card mania resurged during lockdowns, inspiring a Miami barber to auction unopened booster boxes for $1,000 a slot. When he sliced open packs live on Instagram and revealed worthless commons, buyers demanded refunds he'd already spent on a leased Camaro, proving chance games work better when you actually have luck or liquidity. 52. Hypebeasts once flipped Supreme branded bricks, yes, literal clay bricks, for $500 each. Seeing dollar signs, a North Carolina reseller bought a pallet, but secondary demand collapsed, leaving him with a garage resembling a half-finished barbecue pit and a fully finished lesson in scarcity psychology. 53. Agritainment gurus convinced investors that elaborate corn mazes could net $200,000 a season. After record rains turned fields to mud, visitors stayed home, and the only maze many owners navigated was the bankruptcy paperwork spiral. Talk about getting lost in your own investment. 54. Automated weed vending machines promised dispensaries 24/7 sales, so a Nevada firm pre-sold $10 million in units. State regulators banned unstaffed cannabis sales, machines collected dust, and backers discovered that legislation can move slower than stoners, but it still moves. 55. Reclaimed barnwood decor had a rustic moment, prompting an Ohio broker to pre-buy entire derelict barns, expecting HGTV-fueled demand. Transport costs soared, termites thrived, and fashion shifted to sleek Scandinavian lines, leaving him with mountains of gnawed planks and no IKEA catalog in sight. 56. In 2001, entrepreneurs promised to convert obsolete payphones into high-speed internet kiosks for travelers. Wi-Fi smartphones rendered the idea moot within 5 years, and warehouses filled with gutted phone booths became ironic Instagram sets rather than revenue generators. 57. Seeing Redbox success, copycats launched DVD rental kiosks focused on indie films, claiming cinephile loyalty. Streaming giants swallowed that niche, machines sat idle in college lobbies, and investors learned that physical media's 9 lives were officially used up. 58. Farmville's virtual land rush led a Virginia teen to spend $8,000 on rare digital crops he believed could be flipped. Zynga tweaked the game economy, crop values crashed, and he harvested exactly 0 real-world dollars, though he did gain an intimate knowledge of pixelated strawberries. 59. Cameo's celebrity shout-out sparked a tokenized clone where fans bought crypto to request messages. Platform traffic never materialized, token value cratered 98%, and the only star left was the giant zero on backers' balances. Call it a silent shout-out from their wallets. 60. Entrepreneurs hoarded solar eclipse glasses in 2017, predicting post-event markups. Big box stores cleared inventory at 90% discounts the next morning, and profiteers faced garages stacked with cardboard spectacles, good for staring at exactly nothing until 2024. Talk about a dark outlook. 61. During the mask shortage, an MLM sold ionized copper face coverings at $50 each, promising antiviral magic. The FDA issued warnings, social media backlash erupted, and many reps were left with closets full of pricey fabric nobody trusted, illustrating that science eventually unmasks exaggeration. 62. Small-town distilleries pivoted to hand sanitizer, lured by FEMA purchase orders. Once major brands restocked, leftover sanitizer barrels required hazardous disposal fees higher than production costs, and rural investors discovered that pivoting too fast can spin you right off the balance sheet. 63. A Silicon Valley outfit touted a flying car prototype held together with duct tape during demos, yet still raised $50 million. Prototypes crashed in remote deserts, FAA certification proved Herculean, and the startup nosedived, reminding dreamers that gravity is the ultimate venture capitalist. It always demands its return. 64. Dogecoin's moon chant birthed Doge World Token, claiming it would fund a theme park. Developers vanished after pre-sale, liquidity pool drained, and hopeful fans learned that while Shiba Inus are cute, they shouldn't guard your savings. 65. Mystery box resellers on YouTube showcased $10,000 Amazon returns, yielding Rolex watches. One Ohio couple maxed credit cards buying pallets, uncovering mostly phone cases and expired protein powder, proving that unboxing videos edit out the mountain of mundane disappointment. 66. Amazon FBA gurus charged $5,000 for courses teaching how to private label garlic presses. Saturation led to race-to-the-bottom pricing, tariffs hiked costs, and many students now own lifetime supplies of unsold kitchen gadgets. Maybe vampire protection is a small consolation? 67. Dropshipping fashion promised beach life freedom. But when suppliers shipped see-through leggings and customers bombarded PayPal with disputes, Accounts froze, and entrepreneurs learned that the only thing actually shipped quickly was their reputation. Straight to the returns department. 68. TikTok crypto signal groups sold $90 monthly memberships, guaranteeing 10x pumps. Charts instead resembled ski slopes headed downhill, and influencers quietly deleted accounts, leaving subscribers wondering whether the only real signal was run. 69. Sports betting algorithm vendors claimed insider edges. One even flaunted rented Lamborghinis on Instagram. Purchasers followed pics, lost rent money, and discovered the algorithm's true constant. Its creator always wins by selling the dream, never by betting the games. 70. Fantasy sports lineup subscriptions boomed, promising optimal rosters. Sites changed scoring formulas, lineups flopped, and angry players canceled en masse, leaving founders with a fantasy of revenue rather than the real thing. 71. Riding plush toy nostalgia again? Investors stockpiled Squishmallows for $40 each to flip at $200. Production caught up, prices normalized, and the speculators' living rooms became overstuffed zoos of unsellable marshmallow critters. Soft to hug, hard to swallow financially. 72. Virtual reality arcades opened in strip malls, expecting lines of gamers. Headsets grew affordable at home. COVID hit, and foot traffic vanished, turning expensive motion platforms into stationary monuments to misplaced optimism. 73. Escape room fever drove landlords to convert warehouses into puzzle palaces. But with dozens opening per city, Groupon deals cannibalized profits, maintenance costs ballooned, and many operators couldn't break free from the chains of fixed overhead. 74. Urban axe-throwing bars wooed craft beer crowds, yet insurance premiums spiked after viral mishaps showed axes ricocheting. Margins thinned like a well-sharpened blade, and several chains shuttered, proving that mixing sharp objects and alcohol isn't the cleanest cut in hospitality. 75. Goat yoga farms charged $35 a session for downward-facing bleats, attracting influencers until novelty waned. Feed costs stayed, TikTok moved on, and farmers were left balancing ledgers instead of poses, while goats climbed everything except profitability charts. 76. Kombucha microbreweries sprouted with promises of probiotic riches. But inconsistent fermentation led to exploding bottles, FDA recalls, and sour investor sentiment that no amount of ginger mango infusion could sweeten. 77. Cold-pressed juice cleanse shops needed customers to pay $60 a day for liquefied kale. Once fad dieters returned to solid food, sales tanked, and stainless steel presses sat idle. Their silent whir a reminder that squeezing produce can also squeeze bank accounts. 78. Cupcake ATM kiosks looked Instagrammable, so a franchisee ordered 20 machines at $40,000 each. Vandalism, stale frosting, and calorie count apps cooled demand, turning the sugary dream into a half-baked debt pile. 79. When fidget spinners went viral, importers chartered cargo planes to beat rivals. By arrival, trend fatigue hit. Retailers slashed orders, and warehouses brimmed with silent spinners that could no longer distract anyone from the sound of mounting storage fees. 80. The Peachy Printer crowdfund promised a $100 3D printer using saltwater drip technology. After raising $650,000, founders spent funds on personal homes, never delivered units, and pled guilty to fraud, underscoring that sometimes the only thing getting printed is a lengthy indictment. 81. When WeWork filed its 2019 IPO paperwork, bankers salivated over a $47 billion valuation, until the prospectus revealed oceans of red ink, a CEO renting buildings to himself, and corporate governance so loose it made spaghetti look rigid. Within 6 weeks, the listing was yanked, SoftBank ate more than $14 billion, and thousands of hopeful early employees watched their paper riches shrivel like office ferns left over a long weekend. 82. Theranos promised to reinvent medicine with a single drop of blood. Instead, Elizabeth Holmes reinvented the classic con at Silicon Valley scale. Investors, including ex-secretaries of state, poured in $700 million before whistleblowers exposed machines that sometimes tested plain saline. Holmes now serves 11 years in Texas and owes $452 million in restitution, proving charisma can't clot when facts bleed out. 83. MoviePass slashed its all-you-can-watch plan to $9.95 a month, less than one New York ticket, betting users would stay home. Instead, 3 million subscribers binged blockbusters, burning cash so fast the app literally shut off for maintenance on big release weekends. By 2020, its parent filed Chapter 7, and cinephiles learned the only thing unlimited was the losses. 84. Quibi raised $1.75 billion to sell 10-minute shows you could only watch on a phone held upright, then launched weeks into a pandemic when everyone was stuck on couches with TVs. 6 months later, subscriber goals missed by a galaxy, 200 staff were pink-slipped, and the catalog was fire-sold to Roku for pennies. Short form, meet short-lived. 85. The 1983 Cabbage Patch Kids. Frenzy turned toy aisles into mosh pits. Scalpers flipped 25 dolls for 100 plus, convinced values would soar forever. When Coleco flooded shelves the next year, prices crashed, and speculators were left hugging vinyl-faced orphans that suddenly nobody wanted. Personal note, my aunt still has 6 in her attic. Retirement plan postponed. 86. Cosmo.com promised 1-hour delivery of a single pint of ice cream. No fees, no tips. Venture capitalists lobbed $280 million at the dot-com darling, but each $4 delivery cost about $10 to fulfill. Cash melted faster than the ice cream, and in April 2001, the couriers rolled their last orange messenger bag into history. 87. In the mid-2000s, thousands traded greenbacks for shiny Liberty dollars, a private silver currency pitched as inflation-proof. Founder Bernard von Nothaus was convicted of counterfeiting in 2011, prosecutors branding his coins economic terrorism. Holders discovered their stash was worth melt value at best, and decidedly not legal tender at 7-Eleven. 88. Daily Deal Mania saw Groupon clones sprout like weeds. Living Social alone burned through nearly $1 billion offering half-price hot air balloon rides and sushi classes. Merchants balked at razor-thin margins, users hoarded unused vouchers, and by 2017, most copycats folded, proving a bargain for customers can be a bankruptcy sale for backers. 89. Enron didn't just peddle phantom energy, it launched Enron Broadband, vowing to trade bandwidth like oil. Executives hyped a $53 billion market. Internal emails admitted the network barely existed. When the parent imploded in 2001, the broadband arm's projected profits of $54 billion evaporated to $0, a digital mirage inside a larger desert of deceit. 90. Jawbone once rivaled Fitbit, raising $3 billion to sell sleek speakers and UP fitness bands. Defective batteries, endless recalls, and a 5-year patent war drained coffers. In 2017, the company liquidated, and investors discovered even Silicon Valley swagger can't count steps to profitability. 91. Remember the Casper mattress IPO? Early flippers imagined a sleep sector unicorn. Shares debuted at $12 and drowsily drifted to $3 before the firm sold itself to private equity at half the original valuation. Turns out stuffing money under the mattress might have yielded better rest. 92. Government-backed solar startup. Solyndra secured a $535 million federal loan, bet on pricey cylindrical panels, and ignored plunging silicon costs. 2 years later, it filed Chapter 11, leaving taxpayers and venture funds equally sunburned, and handing political pundits a talking point that still glows at night. 93. Forex robot. Vendors claimed algorithmic magic would double accounts monthly. One South Carolina salesman grossed $80 million selling $99 bots that mostly traded users into margin calls. The CFTC finally froze assets, but not before thousands learned the only sure multiplier was the marketer's bank balance. 94. In 2011, Groupon-style penny auction apps pivoted to mobile, charging 50-cent bids for PS5s worth $500. Regulators ruled the format unlicensed gambling. Stores of unsent gadgets piled up, And a Kansas founder admitted he'd earned more from bid fees on a single toaster than the toaster actually cost at retail. 95. Valent Pharmaceuticals' buy and jack pricing looked like Wall Street alchemy, until congressional hearings exposed 500% overnight hikes on life-saving drugs. The stock plunged from $262 to under $10, margin call casualties littered hedge fund floors, and the only thing inflated more than pill prices was investor hubris. 96. In 2022, a startup promised to revolutionize fashion by 3D printing high-end clothing from recycled ocean plastics. But when prototypes looked more like abstract sculptures than wearable apparel, and production bottlenecks kept delivery as slow as molasses, the venture folded, leaving investors with a pile of unwearable eco-art. 97. Microbrew hard seltzer startups sought the next White Claw, promising 1,000% growth. One Denver outfit scaled production to 50,000 cans an hour, just as the fad fizzled. Distributors returned pallets, carbonation went flat, and the company poured unsold booze down the drain while investors drowned sorrows in their own product. 98. CBD Everything Fever convinced a Utah rancher to plant 700 acres of hemp, leveraging land and equipment. Processing bottlenecks, oversupply, and murky FDA rules crushed prices 90%. Today, his fields grow alfalfa again, and he jokes the only high he got was on debt. 99. Nikola Motors staged a promo video of its hydrogen semi driving across the desert, later revealed to be rolling downhill in neutral. Founder Trevor Milton was convicted of securities fraud in 2023. Recently pardoned, controversy still raging. Investors lost billions, and the company has now sought bankruptcy protection. Gravity, unlike hype, never lies. 100. In 2022, a daring space tourism venture emerged, pitching a space bus for suborbital thrill rides at bargain prices. Hype soared until repeated launch failures, suffocating regulatory hurdles, and runaway costs turned the cosmic dream into a gravity-defying flop, stranding backers in a void of disappointment. 101. OneCoin trumpeted itself as the Bitcoin killer, hosting arena rallies where founders claimed an imminent Wall Street listing and 10-to-1 returns. From 2014-2017, more than $4 billion poured in. Then, crypto queen Ruja Ignatova vanished by private jet. Co-founder Carl Greenwood got 20 years, and FBI posters now offer $5 million for clues. For countless dreamers, the only thing mined was their wallets, making this perhaps the most audacious get-rich-quick implosion in modern American lore. That's a wrap on our look at 101 outrageous get-rich-quick flops. Each a stark reminder that the road to fast cash is often paved with a big crash. The American dream has sparked both brilliant innovations and epic misfires, proving that if a deal sounds too good to be true, caution is your best bet. Before you head out, if you've read all the way to the end, drop our code word FastCashBigCrash in the comments so we know you're part of the Factomer boss crew. Stay savvy and invest wisely.